Hello everyone, it's Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. Welcome to the telephone hop game. I am part of Scrappy Shenanigans this round and I am third in line. That's exactly where I was the last round in the same group. However, I am following Hannah's layout today. And unlike the last round where I went and made a complete left-hand turn, today I'm going to follow and be inspired by Hannah's layout pretty darn closely. Let's start with the fact that Hannah is kind of like the mixed media queen. So slightly intimidating when I got this gorgeous layout from her and how I was going to make it look remotely similar at all. So I simply started by just spreading some teal on because that's the color that Hannah uses. Hannah is a big fan of the colors that are on her layout. She uses a lot. Those are her colors. It's all her and she embraces it and I love that about her. So I started with that. I then grabbed into my stamps and you can see I made those two little splats of teal and then I went in and used my white acrylic paint with this cool stencil that I received. And I'm just kind of putting it in three little areas. So I've got it all there. Started with teal. I'm then going to do some splattering in blue just because I wanted a different little pop of color there. And eventually you can see off to the side, I have that pattern paper there from Paige Evans that I'm working off of. That's kind of my color inspiration. So I picked the blue up from there thinking I'm going to be using that. My tiny little bit of gold Heidi Shine that I have left, using that a little bit there. And then I'm going to come back in and I'm going to do the pink, show you the pink. And with this one again, I wanted to go ahead and do circles like you can see in Hannah's, but I just wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I do not have a ton. I have some stencils and some paints and stuff, but mixed media is not something I have a lot of stuff. Like I don't have stamps and stuff like that. So when I want to do something like make a circle, I have to be kind of creative. And so I just took one of my kids' water cups and used that to make my circles. They're a little bit larger than you can see in Hannah's layout, but they work and I do first and second kind of generation with the paint there. Loved how that turned out. Like that nice little pop of pink. At the moment, no clue what my photo is going to be, so I'm just going to let it be. I then off camera went in and used some purple as well, and I just did numbers for that one so it could fit a bunch of themes I felt like. Let this sit overnight because it was shimmers and paste and all the stuff that takes a little bit of time to dry, and let that be. Found my photo. So this particular photo was taken back in 2019 and it is of Nora coloring. This little girl, if I let her, would sit at the table and color all day long. She loves to do this and it hasn't changed. She's loved to do it since the moment she was able to hold something to color on. It's just, she's very creative. She maybe could say gets that from me. So I love to see that, and I just got this really cute photo of her kind of examining the color she was going to use next, which I thought was really cute. So that's the color I'm going to use. You can see that I backed it with some yellow. I wanted that nice pop, especially with her shirt being pink. I felt like that pop of yellow would work really well. And then because I am following Hannah, I had to use this stencil that has triangles in it. If you watch Hannah at all, you will know she has this exact same stencil and she uses it a ton in this particular way, where she takes a black pen and she just draws little triangles all over her layout. And so that was my little nod to her in this layout. It's very, by the end, you can tell that it's been heavily influenced by her anyways, but that is just kind of my secret nod to her. So that's why that is in there. So by this time in me working with these patterns now, we are on to the next day. And I am using this particular collection because when I was creating it was the same time that I was doing the She's Crafty mini paper pad class that she created. And it was for weeks 5 and 6 was the middle of when I was working with this. I had chosen my little paper pad to be just Paige Evans. I had kind of a little mixture of a bunch of the different paper pads, so I was just trying to combine them. lovely thing about her collections. They do all kind of go together. And so that was just kind of, it was there. I felt like I could make them all kind of work together. And that is how I decided what little tiny bits of pattern paper I was going to use for this layout. And then I'm going to go ahead and do something that I love to do, which is a big long title. And the one I am choosing to use today is whatever makes your soul happy, do that. I felt like it just fits the photo, fits my daughter's vibe, and I like to do quotes on her layouts. I tend to do that a lot, especially ones that are kind of like inspiring. I find I really do a lot of those on Nora layouts, so this is just another example of that. You are going to watch me kind of go through and how I made my decisions on which words to use. If I could use a pre-made word, I did, which I was able, I think, to use the word your and happy. The rest of them I have to do on my own. I'm mixing alphas, having fun with that. I was also creating this for a theme from a challenge from Paper Issues at the time. I don't really do a whole lot with Paper Issues, but I did like the idea of their spring, or their, I guess it was their winter crop that they had. And the theme was travel. So I was kind of into that. And one of them was to document art. And I think it was when being in Berlin or something along those lines. Anyways, that's in the back of my head. That's where I was influenced by picking my photo, and kind of as this layout came together was kind of influenced within that as well. Gotta tie things in when you can. I find that makes creating a little bit more fun sometimes, is if you can find a challenge or find an inspiration piece besides maybe something else you're using, so you almost combined two things into one. It really helps. Sometimes one will give you the inspiration on how to decorate your layout or, create it, while the other one gives you the topic you need to use. I have fun with that. I played. I'm still working on my title. I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing. It does eventually just appear, because this layout took me 3 days. So this is still on day 2, but when it comes back and it's the title is all done, yep, that is on to day 3 that I finish and go through and find my embellishing. For some reason, I was stumped with this layout. I just couldn't figure out how I wanted it to go, and then eventually it all just kind of fell into place. I just kept working with it, and I'm very happy with it, but it did take me some walking away, coming back, looking at it, doing a little here, walking away. That type of thing is definitely how this layout came together. One thing I was so happy and proud of myself for doing is I used packaging. So one of the layers of pattern paper was actually from the word whatever, that the flat stickers that came on the backing was this gorgeous pattern paper. So I totally stole it, and it was a different width than my 6x6, so that worked really well. And I loved that little hint of adding something unexpected there. I'm also adding a couple more pops of yellow. You can see I used it in the word makes, and I used it in the word do. I purposefully made the K in makes different so that I could tie in the word always. There's that pop of blue I was kind of talking about. I did try to have it appear in a couple places, but almost kind of subtly, so went ahead and did that. And now I'm just playing. I went through, I think, 5 of my little containers here, pulled out things I felt were going to work. What I ended up finding in the end were a few clouds from an old Chamel line that had purple in them. Not very many collections have purple, so being able to pull that and just work with it, I felt just kind of tied everything in together, kept it fun and whimsical. Especially when you're documenting something about art, you can go kind of crazy and whimsical and it still fits, which is nice. This layout is a little much, probably more than I would normally do, but I just kept playing and pulling and trying to make it fit. I wasn't in the mood to add more circles, so I just went ahead and worked with the clouds instead. Now, just to wrap up with the telephone hop, it's going to get passed on. I passed my layout on to Jackie, who is JQ Crafty. So be sure to head on over and check out her layout tomorrow. If you haven't seen Hannah's layout already, like her process, click back. The link for hers will be in my description box. and before her was Miranda. So that's the order we're going in with our team. There are 3 other teams on YouTube that you can check out. You just need to find the little logo there. And it's always such a fun thing to see how one layout starts and as it gets passed on, what it turns into. It's a very fun series. I love doing it. And like I said, I'm really happy with the way my layout turned out. So thanks, Hannah, for inspiring me. And thank you for watching. I'll see you all later.